Beep beep! What is up, ninjas? My name is SamWorld. If you're looking behind me right now, you can probably see Mala and Rez going at it. And this is a music video for their new track called Criminals, which utilizes this technique I'm about to teach you a lot for some of the bass sound design. Now, a while back, guys, I stumbled upon this video of Mick Gordon, the creator of the Dune soundtrack, going over how he created some of the sounds. Definitely worthwhile watch if you're into any sort of sound design. But in that video, he discusses utilizing the purest waveform, which is a sine wave, and noise, layering it together, and running it through heavy amounts of distortion to create some of the more iconic sounds in that soundtrack that he did. Fast forward a little bit more and I start hearing these grain style basses start to pop up in G house, night bass style kind of stuff. And obviously, as you guys know, if you supported my work, you will find a lot of sounds in the Confession series where there's just a sine wave with noise distorted in various different ways to create some of the more harder sounding bass lines of those packs. So today I'm going to talk to you guys and teach you how you can do this yourself so you can get some of the sounds similar to, again, Rez Mala's Criminal, but as well as some of these crazy grainy sounds that you can create like Phlegmatic Dogs and some of your favorite G house artists, so that you can also have access to these kind of sounds. And hopefully doing this and you do a little bit of sound design, you can find your own unique sound in this range as well. As always, guys, if you want to support my YouTube channel, you can head over to evilsounds.com where you can find a lot of my sound design work. I'm also posting Instagram tutorials now, so make sure to check those out over at SamWorld Music on Instagram. And without further ado, let's get into creating some grainy style of bass lines and going over some of the techniques that will make your life easier when going and creating these. All right, guys, and welcome inside of Ableton. Now, what we're going to do is simple. This technique is pretty simple from the sounds of it, and it is, but there's a couple of things we do have to talk about. First off, we're going to have a sine and white noise here, and we're just going to go and get the bright white for now. And what we're going to do is R and phase down all the way. That's what I always do for bass lines, sidechains, bass lines, whatnot. You always want a constant, strong output from your sound that sounds the same when it comes to the bass. You can definitely have the R and phase up if you want different vibes, but it's not that much. But the thing with this is that sometimes if you're going to have the bass play a lot, like really fast and always be or pa 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 pa, you want to make sure that R and phase is down just so that it has, again, constant power and constant output, and you don't have it kind of being like one hit is strong, the other one is soft, the other one is different, and so. But you don't have to have it down. Again, I just like to do that with my bass lines. From there, we're going to go with a distortion and just apply a 2. And we are pretty much done. Now, here, this is going to sound good. And there's a couple of things you can do. First off, the level amount of your bright white is very important. As you can see, the higher it goes, the more emphasis the texture is going to have. Okay, you can also pitch it down and pitch it up, but majority of the time in the middle is where you want to be at, just because lower kind of gives you a bit more darker, and in the middle you get the same response as if you were going to be up here. The higher you go, the more less apparent the effect becomes. Okay, now the key thing here, guys, is that from here we can pick different sound sources. Like I could go with organics, get an air can, and that gives me a different response. Okay, you can kind of see we can maybe go with this. This one's going to be a wide one. And you can already see we got a good response. Okay, now if we go back to what we had with like maybe the ARP one. From here, there's a couple more things we can do. We can definitely apply a bit of unison to the bass if we're trying to create a wide response. And we get something like that. You can kind of hear. The white noise also kind of gets wider with the sine wave there. Now, sine and white, you can do a lot of things. Definitely, you can start to FM, you know, the same old, same old. You can switch this bass to a different kind of resonating sound. You can definitely use a square, a triangle as well. You can also go with a saw, but you're going to get a different response from it. And if you hear that track, the Mala and Rez track, there's a lot of this going on with like saws and sines. However, if we're going for more of that deep vibe, you definitely don't want to deviate away from this guy. Now, the next thing that's going to happen here is sometimes you might want this sound to have a bit of a wub. Like you're going to go and do your standard thing. You might decide to put OTT. Problem with this is you don't get a really strong response when you do it this way. So what I recommend you do is you have your levels up where you want them. And then you put a filter after all of this. You can do low 6, low 12, whichever you like. And then from there, you're going to route your LFO there. And this is another great technique if you're just distorting really heavily and it kills the dynamics of the wub. You can definitely do it this way to get it back. and you get something along those lines. And now the cool thing about this technique is different amounts of distortion, different ones will give you different results. So it's always good to kind of go in and play around with them to see which one you like most. From here, we can also add an photo. Now, the other thing we can also do is we can just use Serum as sort of like our sound source, and then we can use Isotopes Trash 2, which gives you access to a huge amount of distortions, and it usually goes on sale for $30. And it's definitely a must-have, as you can do different type types of vibes there, as you can see. Another cool technique that we can do is we can utilize sine waves, like layer them together at different intervals. So what that means is we can go, like, for instance, here and have one be at 0 for our bass and have one be an octave up. So that way, it sounds a little bit like FM, doesn't it? Like getting distorted. We can get really cool kind of vibes. From here, we can also add movement to the sound. I mean, if you're into those kind of sounds, like there's some cool things you can definitely do with it. But the idea of it is, again, sine wave with noise and distort the crap out of it. There's other things we can do in between that, like apply reverb and distort, apply phasers, flangers. But the idea of this is, again, noise with sine, saw, square to get that grain on. That is what's in right now at the moment from the looks of it. And I hope that this helps you guys in achieving those kind of sounds. As always, guys, if you want to support my YouTube channel, make sure to head over to evilsounds.com. And I'll catch you guys next time for another video. You guys have a great day. Peace out.